This is Dust War Journals, episode 35, your number one spot for all news and discussion related to Dust 1947. My name is Johannes. Bringing us together today are...
Well, this is Ludda. I'll just have to start, though, by saying I wish I didn't get that memo. And to follow that up, I would like to say good guy, bad guy, hero or anti-hero. Doesn't matter to me what role I play. Only the character has something magical. And if you know who I'm ripping that off to, I just say RMP and bring the mic to Magnus.
Yeah, and Magnus is also here as usual. Very nice introduction there, Ludda. Very nice.
No, well, yeah, well, it was once again one of those days when we lost one person that we've built our whole existence around in some parts at least, or my childhood or something like that.
I can understand that feeling definitely. So it's always sad when that happens.
Yeah, definitely.
So, but we're not here to discuss that primarily.
No,
even if
definitely.
People who follow us regularly know that we can go off on a tangent now and then.
Oh yes.
What?
We will.
Yes, and speaking of tangents, we usually start with hobby talk.
Oh.
Have any of you two guys had any time for hobby since our last episode? Because I sure as hell haven't.
Yes, I did.
betcha.
You betcha.
Yes, we have so much hobby time that it's sprouting out our asses are everywhere, our every orifice. I wish to say. I'm sorry. Just cut that. Sorry, but Magnus, please.
No, at the moment, my wife and my son are off on vacation, so I'm home alone. So I took this opportunity to invite all
few other
kinds of
babies.
strange people over, including such weirdos as Ludda. I tried to get Johannes over to my place, but it was completely impossible. But yeah, we played a ton.
Well, it wasn't impossible, but it was It was a bit far to go from Scotland. So.
Okay, fair enough.
Ran away.
But yeah, we played a ton of different board games.
Yeah.
Board games, card games, you name it. All kinds of games. So I've had a nice summer so far. And I also had some more time to continue with the terrain. Yeah, the MDF terrain. So right now I'm working on the first part of the city line. I talked about this last episode a bit. And it's still sort of in a kind of alpha state, so there's still a bunch of stuff that needs to be changed on these. So I will not be posting any pictures of it yet.
But it looks good, folks. It looks good, and they're doing it so smartly. So just bunching in, quick shout out, not only to Magnus, of course, but also to Mats. You little rascal, you're doing a heck of a good job. And those
Mats
new buildings they can be fine.
Yeah, I never knew, but it turns out that he's a really good 3D designer.
Yeah. Thankfully, he found his true calling this time in life. So the other years he's just wasted away. I don't know what he's been doing, but finally Mats has come home.
Come home to roost in the MDF.
Yes, Mats should be plastered in MDF. He should be built into an MDF character or something. I don't know. Sorry. But you're doing more, don't you? Or is that too much of a tease? You're just not satisfied with only MDF now, what I gather.
Mats found a new 3D printer, so he kind of traded up the one he had before.
Oh.
So me and Mats is splitting that 3D printer, so hopefully we will be able to print a bunch of cool stuff, and Mats sent some pictures of some cool things that he already printed. I'm not sure if I can mention it, so I will not mention it exactly what it is. That's up to Mats to decide.
No, of course. I didn't mean to ruin it.
But these are basically cool props for an upcoming dust table. That's what it is.
Very nice.
So I'm looking forward to see where this project goes.
We are too, I promise you. It looks so nice, it looks so good, and I actually am starting to get a little anxious now. When can I get my hands on those MDF's buildings? Because, I can announce, though, that you're doing 2x2 buildings. That's not
the big thing right now is a building that is 2 by 2 squares with one ground floor, obviously, and as many middle floor as you like, and then either a flat roof or a I would say angled roof.
Yeah.
So you have a choice there, and it's gonna be really good when it's finished.
Yeah, and I see so much potential in those houses. I'm sorry, we're going off on a tantrum here. So, Johannes, you let us in, so you have to cut us down.
That's why you're here.
Yeah, okay. So first off, I had that old docks board, or with the town at the sea with the.
Yeah, we're seeing some remnants of it here. We're at the Ludda-cave today, so we're just surrounded by hobby stuff all around.
Yeah, you crammed into my tiny little hobby room tonight. But at least that board, for me, it needs an upgrade, and those buildings could do so well, because you could get them to look just the same. Not just the same, but they could be tie into that board super good.
Yeah, same style, sort of.
Yeah, but I have another table that I'm slow in getting done completely, and I can see a quick route by 2-3 of those buildings would ease my way to get that board done if I tweak a little bit. So I'm so excited for those, especially because those houses are the first houses that I see has a multiple fix for me. So yeah, I'm really super excited.
That's part of the idea that depending on how you paint these. You could go for sort of wooden and sort of older, like countryside style houses if you want, or you can paint them more like in for example, grays, concrete and stone, and get them more be like city house style. So it's all up to you in the end to choose what you want to do with them. There are multiple choices.
And if I just can continue, which I'm doing anyway, so it doesn't matter what, I don't know. I just try to be polite for once. I don't know. Also, our good friend Martin had been on a little walkabout, so he found a new game club quite fairly close to me. And it turns out 3 of the guys over there, not only are they charming as hell, they are also very interested in Dust, and have just started to binge in their miniatures. So I'm very, very, very excited. I have to go, of course, and just
We should plan an invasion soon.
Definitely. We were there, did some demos, and we had a lot of fun. You were with us, Magnus?
Yes.
And the good part is also that I almost found a new romantic interest in my life now. So now, you see, one of these guys apparently
was very good looking.
No, I can't say that, and I'm saying this honestly because he's not. I don't think he listened to the pod yet, so hopefully he won't understand it. But the thing is, it's not the looks you're after with guys, it's their mechs. And he was heavy into battle mech, and I know this. We shouldn't talk about this.
I know, your first love.
Yeah. So it was. They were like, okay, should we leave you guys alone for half an hour and you can like sort out you?
Yeah, and I know and there's been some rumblings about that because of the Kickstarter that's going on at the moment. One of our other Dust guys is painting some battle mechs. So
Maurits!
Yeah.
Good on you, mate. Sorry, let's talk about Dust now. So
let's talk about Dust, baby. Like I said, I haven't had any space for hobby time at all. I've been on vacation. I've been in Scotland with my wife. I think day 2, she asked me, when are we moving here? So she wants to breed cattle.
But you can tie that into your hobby time. You have the cattle from the expansion.
Yeah, exactly. You can go with the barbecue rules, and there's definitely some potential, I guess.
Yeah.
But other than that, we did have that little get together and play some board games at my place a few days ago. You and me, Ludda, which was very nice.
Yes.
Also with my wife and your daughter, which was very. very lovely.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Played some murder mysteries, wholesome fun for the whole family.
I'm definitely going to scavenge the market for that Swedish murder mystery game, because that was a really, really nice way of just telling a murder together, not playing a murder, but telling a murder.
Yeah, it's a storytelling game. As far as I know, it's a game that's only available in Swedish, so I don't think it's interesting for our other international listeners, unfortunately. But for Swedish people listeners, it's a game called Alias Saknas, or Herrgårdsmordet, the murder at the manor.
Yeah.
So I've actually been wondering if that company would be interested in doing a simple English translation of it, because it's just a deck of cards basically.
Yeah.
But it's fun.
And it's definitely not the artwork that is the challenging part on redoing or something. No, so it just basically text, and you can just put it in another language with the same color, and it would just work out wonderful. Oh, sorry. Yeah, well.
So that's said about tangents. Maybe we should go and talk some Dust.
Yeah, well, just one more thing is actually also that just a reflection. Perhaps I could have just told you guys before we started the pod, but when which talked about yesterday about we needing to do the pod now because we should do it in a month, every month, so to speak. I just realized, shice, is this a month already? Because it's been so crazy. Yeah, it's like, I think it was maybe a week ago we did the last podcast, but apparently it's gone a month. So, well, but perhaps that's just
time flies when you're having fun.
Oh yeah,
that's true. So, talking about fun, let's go and talk about some Dust 1947 news.
Yes.
First off, a bit of news that's not very fun for some people, I think, but I think there's some interesting things to talk about here. Dustgame.com, that is the official Hong Kong, the global site, have recently started. They've stopped selling primed units, primed products. So now they are only focusing on the premium and the model kits. And I think that the main reason for this is that they want the majority of the players who are buying the Prime product to buy them from their local distributors instead of buying them from Hong Kong. I can definitely understand that because they want to support the local communities. The thing that I've heard is that there are some parts of the world that's been hit by this. There's been Canadians on BoardGameGeek.com, for instance, that's kind of lamenting that, now we have to pay a lot more for freight because for some reason it's much cheaper to send stuff from Hong Kong to Canada than it is to send from the United States to Canada.
Yeah, that is weird.
That's really
crazy.
weird.
It's really weird.
Yeah. So hopefully they can have some sort of solution with Dust USA, or if they can maybe start some local distribution in Canada. So for those regions that are outside of the European Union and the US has been hit by this, unfortunately. But hopefully this is something that can be rectified.
Yeah, well, I'm immediately start thinking about one of those favorite movies, The Untouchables. One just do the opposite. They have to start doing with lorries going over the Canadian border there with not booze this time. I have to do with plastic minis that freight them over. And hopefully the Canadian police this time will look the other way as well. Perhaps if they get a cart of plastic spruce or something, they will look the other way. Not promoting crimes here, guys. Just, but it's the one.
Just thinking out loud.
Yeah. Just popping up. Just referring to a movie I saw once, twice, three times, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. Sir, oh, sorry, I'm just counting. No, but that sounds really shitty. Actually, if some parts are hit by it, there must be some easy way
in the
to go
long
around.
run, I'm sure they will fix this somehow, and I think this is for the better. I think this is a good business decision, actually, even though it might hurt right now for some people, and I definitely feel their pain, but.
And in a way, I can see this as a good thing as well, because that the studio have decided to do this means that they feel that they have enough distribution in the big markets, that is the European Union and the US, to allow them to do this.
Yeah. Personally, I was just, this is just good. But of course, it's never good if it hurts some of the players. We need to open up a Dust store in Montreal, actually, or Quebec or somewhere. They should be able to do it themselves also, but I don't know the business models in Canada. So,
Hopefully this can be solved for not only Canadians but other people
everyone,
outside of the
No.
US and the EU as well. Next up we have one new release since last time. It's been a bit low because I think they are saving themselves for Gen Con, which is coming up very shortly. But there's been one release. It's the Axis weapon set number 5. And this is a single sprue full of various versions of Panzerfausts and ammo boxes. So very useful if you just want some scenery for your buildings, if you want to have small objective markers, or just want to load up your units with a lot of extra Panzerfausts, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you look at these and you say, no, it doesn't matter, I don't have to have these, or it doesn't seem too interesting. But then, if you get them, you start putting them on your tanks or on a basis of people, just having a few in a square at a building, your game board pops immediately. So this is just one of those, you should have one or two of these, even if you don't understand it yourself. Just buy them and start gluing them onto stuff. Your whole experience of the game will enhance with this small, easy to fix, actually. Those
are, very iconic Axis stuff that you can fit. You can fit them almost anywhere. You can fit them on infantry models, or you can put them on the bases, or you can do whatever, and it will look better.
Yeah, definitely.
And just kind of tangentially related to this, I recently got the Rosie and Crew kits that were released relatively recently, and I was pleasantly surprised to find that the crew girls, besides Rosie, who are sitting on their own small boxes, they don't come attached to the boxes. They are separate, which means that if you want, you can use them as crew for a captured Skysweeper or for a Red Rain, something like that.
Nice.
So. That's a hot tip for you mercenary fans out there.
Good to know, and of course it's very wise of Johannes not mentioning this yesterday when I was in his home. He didn't talk about this at all yesterday. It was not on the radar, but of course he knew what could have happened. So I'm totally down with that.
No, I hid them well.
Yeah. You're a shrewd man. But do you know where my daughter was all the time? Are you sure you still have them? Because she sniffs out mercenaries, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, the mercenaries are usually a big hit with girls. It seems
it's so good.
We hear that all the time from conventions and stuff. That's a really good thing, that there are something that they can latch onto and they can identify with. That's one of the strengths of the game, because there's not many strategy war games that actually feature women that much at all.
No.
There are some, but Dust is in the forefront. Then you could, we have had that discussion before, you could argue the presentation, maybe, but the representation is definitely there in Dust, I would say.
Definitely.
And a final bit of news. There has been a new podcast launched. And this one is an official podcast from the Dust USA team called Dust HQ. So if you search for Dust HQ on your favorite podcast app or in iTunes, whatever, you should be able to find it. At the moment that we are recording this, there's been 3 episodes released. And it's really interesting to see. So as it seems, it's going to be kind of a rotating cast. We have Nate, the main guy, and 2 of the episodes so far has also featured Greg and Alicia from Dust USA, and the other featured one member of the demo team from Dust USA. So it's going to be very interesting to see where they take this, and since it's internally from the Dust people themselves, we might be able to get some insights into upcoming stuff that we as fans don't have access to. There's some potential there.
Definitely.
So go check that out. They have asked listeners and people out there what they want from the podcast as well. I think this is a really good opportunity to get the American community involved more, to showcase local American events and tournaments, to showcase community members so they can talk about what they do and get their groups noticed and stuff like that. I hope this can be really, really cool for them.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, since we have trouble, having our eyes on the US. So we know a lot of the stuff going on here on this side of the water, but I think this is going to be really cool to follow, see what they do with it.
Absolutely. Right, so let's go over to mail call. First off, we have a question from Scott Waterford. What do you feel is the best way to encourage growth within your local Dust community? Well, I would say, first of all, be visible to your other people in your community and have continuity. Go to your local game store or your local game club if you don't have a store where you can play, and just play games where people can see you. Ideally, like once a month, even once a week, if that's possible. It's a little bit harder with Dust because it's a lot of stuff to haul back and forth. But to have that regularity and to have people around you see that you are doing stuff, that draws people.
Demo gaming is really the first step if you are starting completely from scratch. And there are lots of important things when you do demos. We actually did talk about this a while back now, but one thing that I'm not sure I actually mentioned is that you should have something to give to the people that you demo to. And I'm not talking about products, because that would be super expensive if you gave stuff to everyone. But you should have some kind of, like flyer with information. These are the website that you should check out. This is the Facebook page or whatever. Something that people can take with them home, and so they don't forget. That is super important.
Yeah, so they feel like they can keep their continue was the word I was searching for. Continue their Dust journey in their own pace, so they don't feel like they have to be necessarily on that next game when you arrange, and they're lost. Or if they don't come on next Wednesday, they never gonna play a Dust again. They have that little flyer so they can think about it. This was nice. Yeah, well, I can't do it that Wednesday. Well, but it was nice. I check out the website. Okay, they have another tournament in a month's time. Okay, well, so definitely I'm all for that. And I would like to say that you should just go for 50 points. That's basically a cool number, and you can have a tank and some infantry. Make sure you do 4 or 5 armies that you pre-assemble, and put in some nice easy boxes that you can quickly take with you. And then for a while, half a year, as soon as you hear someone talking about a game club you haven't been to, or someone mentioned that, okay, it was quite fun when you were there last time, could you come again? You just bring those 5 armies, 1 mat each, and a few easy peasy terrain tiles. Perhaps even just do 2D, because it's not that bad. It's always better to have the 3D to make it pop and to make people But in the worst case scenario, just have that pre-prepared bag. Go and do everything, and sooner or later people will start to notice you and come on your regular events, I would say.
Yeah, and it's you have to also think about what type of event are you at? When you are doing your demos, is it gamers that you show this game to? And if it is, then I completely agree with you, Ludda, that you could do even small armies, 50 points with stuff. If it's not necessarily gamers, then you should probably go straight by the start boxes, I would say. Make it even smaller and easier. Because we as gamers, as veteran gamers, we have really no problem in doing, or maybe even bigger first games. But there is definitely a hurdle for new people. So
and that's another thing that you run into there. That if you are then talking with, let's say, well, not really non-gamers, but gamers in waiting maybe, but then you can say, well, and now you played with what comes in the starter box. So they know that if they buy a starter box, this is the experience they get. So they have some emotional connection to it. That's also very strong, I think.
It's very, very good thoughts, and I agree with you almost. But the reason why I want to go to 50 points is that, at least my interpretation is that 2 mechs and 4 units of infantry is mostly everyone can handle that. And also if there are 2 newbies and one of them gets the hang of the game a little bit quicker than the other, then it doesn't matter too much that if the worst of the 2 loses an infantry squad or a walker quickly, he still has some people left, and then you can perhaps boost him and give him some tips. And now if you just shoot here, you can take out his walker, and all of a sudden it's a level playing field again, and you can let them go play by themselves, or perhaps just boost that other guy. Because
there are pros and cons, and I think that as soon as you start demoing, you are going to get into the groove of it, and you're going to learn what works with what audience, basically.
Definitely. It's nothing wrong with doing just the starter box. I see the effect of it very much. But as a personal favor, I think I would try to have a little bit more, just because...
I remember actually when I think it was you and me, Johannes, and Lars, we went to the hobby fair a while back, and I think in that case, I did like 2 different versions. I put up like 50 points, and then I also made a smaller list made from those same miniatures, but I just took some of them away. So when somebody walked up and was interested, I started to ask questions like, have you seen something like this before? Do you play any other game? And if they say, yeah, sure, I play this and this, okay, fine, we'll do it 50 points. Or if they say, no, I've never seen anything like this before, okay, let's start really simple and small.
Yeah, that's very, very smart of you, because when you don't then want to remove some so they get the feeling, oh, I'm dumb, I can't play with this much figures, I need to be on the left. So it's, of course, that's a much smarter, as always, Magnus. You're very very knowledgeable about these things. Definitely, I'm all for that version. Have the small armies on the table, but make sure you have the other one compatible units ready. So when the one that plays 2,000 points in War Master or like something comes in, he don't want to play with 5 infantry and a walker. He needs a little bit more plastic.
Find the right level.
Yeah, I mean,
plastic meat on the bones.
Some people, because I've actually seen that, and some even when we did 50 points, some people are like, doesn't seem much. So you have to, no worries, let's have this as well. No worries, we can fix that. Sky's the option.
All right, next question comes from Joe McLaughlin. Did you see Patrick Doty numbered his aircraft carrier 42 after your comments on how many points an aircraft carrier should be? Yes, we did.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that aircraft carrier looks just so amazingly cool.
Definitely. I hope he has some extra pictures in his archives so he could do perhaps a YouTube video.
I think there's going to be a lot of images of it soon. We'll get back to that. We're actually going to talk a little bit more about this aircraft carrier later on in the show.
But what I would like for him to do is to do a YouTube video with how we made it. So, and I don't mind if we only have a few stills left, because I don't know Patrick. Perhaps he sounds like shit actually when he's talking. I don't know, but I'm guessing he is as cool verbally as he is writing and when he's producing. So I would have loved to watch a YouTube video with
some work in progress shots.
In stills, and him talking over them and explaining, okay, this is the first thing I did it, but I think we get a good base of how and why and what he did when we look at Facebook. But for this carrier, it would definitely be one that we would love to put on the Viking webpage if we were allowed. And I'm only humbly asking, if you do this, please let us have it there, or the link at least. And I think a lot of people would like to hear how he reasoned and how he did it. And because those Facebook threads, they just, they fly by and then they're gone, and you've seen the images and you saw he wrote something there and something there. And so please, Patrick, do this with a video.
Inspiration is always welcome in all shapes and sizes, definitely. Next question comes from Michael Sherman, and Michael asks, for right now, what are each of your favorite armies to play and least favorite to play against, and why? Easy answer for me. My favorite army to play are the Mythos, because because basically it's a very versatile army now. If you use all the extra stuff with the cultist cars and the small tanks, you can go swarm, you can go the big honking avatars. It's very different from everything else. I'm still kind of figuring out how to combine everything. I love the look of it, I love the feel of it. I still haven't really figured out how to win with it yet, without just cheesing. And I don't really want to do that. I want to have that. I'm looking forward to have that. We talked a little bit about that before the pod. I'm looking forward to have this big mega battle where I can bring all of the big Cthulhu monsters and tons of small cultists and just have that big invasion force, basically. So that is my favorite. My least favorite to play against is the Spetsnaz. For kind of the reason that I haven't really figured out their weaknesses yet. They are really, really tough for me to play against. It doesn't really matter who plays them. I always have a lot of problems dealing with Spetsnaz armies. So for me, that's one of my personal bugbears.
Well, okay. Should I go? Okay. Well, I start with the least favorable as well. Definitely, it's three that I'm thinking of, and it's nothing faulty with those armies, and it's not that I don't actually enjoy playing them, but of course Spetsnaz, the Endak Khrushchev list, and some drop lists for the Luftwaffe is lists that I've played so much against, and they've always been the same. So when I actually love playing the Spetsnaz list, but I'm not playing it at all because everyone else has been playing it and we're playing it in a certain way. So the revamping of it, I haven't found the exact way how I want to revamp it, and I wanted it to die down, but it probably never will. So like those three, not fun because everyone else has played them, and I'm just like the one of the. We actually should say four of our favorite ones, and just to try to make this quick, I could say all SSU armies. Okay, then we've done that. But if we don't play SSU, Bleutkreuz, of course, that's a super fun army, and you can do so many variants of the Bleutkreuz. Okay, and I love in one aspect that they are totally crap when it comes to airplanes. They can be so, but. But then, since I did manage to beat a 2-chopper SSU list with my zombies, which I think should be impossible,
that should be an award for that, I think.
I'm happy just to have won that game, and it was quite recently, one of those 12 days of gaming we've had the last couple of 2 weeks. It was been insane, but so there's definitely check out all the nuances of Bleutkreuz, and I haven't even started playing the monkeys yet. I'm still savoring and waiting to play the monkeys. That's my most
hey with the monkeys.
Definitely. And if anyone saw us right now, they would see it's three monkeys here. I had also, but also I'd like to mention that I get a serious kick out of playing regular Allied infantry 2s with M4 backup tanks and a little bit different tank pools there.
The real retro army.
Yeah, well, it has so much diversity. I always end up, well, you're on the wrong end of everything, and you usually lose more than you win, of course, with them. But they're so charming, and they're so...
They have a lot of personality, both the walkers and the infantry, and I definitely understand that there are many people who have a soft spot for them.
Yeah, there's something with them that just... I can't stop playing them. And also, of course, I'm dreaming of getting my... I wanted to have said the Desert Scorpion list, but I'm still not getting that to work. every time I build a Desert Scorpion army, I realize it is imbalanced, it is failing, and the faults in my army building when I do Desert Scorpions for some reason is so huge that it takes a little bit of fun out of it. It's nothing wrong with the miniatures, with the army, it's just me still having hard time getting my mind to grips with how to build a Desert Scorpion army that makes it tick for me. But that's a lot from me, more than Johannes managed to say. So Magnus, please wrap this one home.
Right. Well, a little bit is the same as it was for you, Ludda, with the favorite army to play. I've been playing sort of retro.
Only
armies.
SSU too. Okay, fine. We heard it here. Magnus loves the SSU more than everything. Oh yes,
and that is exactly why I never play them. No, but you said retro armies, which I have been playing both Axis and Allies sort of retro armies based on Soldier 2s with different flavors of older or oldish walkers. And it's just something about them. I can't say exactly what it is, but it's just something about them that I like. Maybe also it's because most people are playing Soldier 1s or some of the other either newish or more sort of extreme armies. So it's kind of going against the current a little bit when you play these sort of retro Soldier 2 armies. For my least favorite to play against, I don't know, I've played against a lot of different armies, but I would probably say either like SSU block armies, because they sort of always include Koshka and Grandma, so I'm a bit fed up facing her. Maybe also the what's it called, the guard platoon, those the units that, you know, it's sort of a spam army, and for the first 3 turns it's super difficult to kill them.
Yeah, they have like damage resilience
Yeah,
plus.
I can't say that I've played that one a lot, but it's just, I don't know.
It's a platoon that's got a bit of a bad rap here in Sweden. There are a lot of players who have a hard time with it, from what I've heard.
Yeah,
I don't know. I've both won and lost against it, so it's not that either. For me, it's not that fun to play against it. I don't know.
Well, that is an army to me that is supposed to wear you down on the opposite side. So that shouldn't be fun facing. That's the ultimate goal with that army, to be.
Yeah, but I have really no problem
mentally.
I wouldn't say I have that problem facing it, because it sort of kind of feels like you are playing against a zombie army to me, except it's not those cool weirdo zombies. It's not a cool fun Blood Cards army. It's just regular SSU dudes.
You hear what I have to live with, guys out there, please. Where's the support unit for this? Come on.
Go and see Enemy at the Gates again.
Yes. Well, I understand what you mean, and I can see if one were to face them every time, I would probably be really fed up with them also. But it's only 1 or 2 players who play them regularly here in Sweden, and also and I've faced that player so rarely. So the few times I play against them, it's no biggie for me. But then of course that's why I play SSU and you don't, because I feel like they are thematically the right way I would like to have an elite guard army. Okay, I would have loved to have that platoon for the block army, because I think it would have been even more historically, thematically correctly to have
That's
it on
how
the
I
block,
feel as well. I would probably have less problems with it, because it would be more thematic for the super basic troopers to have such a platoon.
But you should.
I don't know. As I said, I've both won and lost against it, and
they are the elite of the Russian army. So to me, I would have loved. Okay, but then I would have loved to have the guards to have like damage resilience in cover and at least brave. They should be unbreakable or something like that, and perhaps nowadays also sustained fire against mythos creatures, like against anything. So they we are the really backbone elite tribes that doesn't matter. We don't run away. We don't walk away. We don't crawl away. We stand here until we're dead. Then we fire some more. That's my impression of the Guard army. Oh, sorry, I'm mouthing off too much. Please continue, Magnus.
No, I really have nothing to add. Those are the things that I could think of on the top of my head. One because it's been played, at least I have faced it a lot, so I'm just kind of fed up with it. And the other one because I don't know, I feel that it's kind of boring. I can't express it any other way.
All right. And our next question comes from Brian Keith Younes, our favorite person to ask us questions. If you guys would be immortalized as Dust heroes, what block or faction, weapons and skills would each of you want for your heroic alter egos?
Ooh,
I have an idea there. I think kind of going with the whole podcast reporting team stuff, I will go for some sort of maybe do us all three as a mercenary three-person team with some kind of scout mechanic going in and getting intel on the enemy in some way, lightly armed but having some special actions that could disrupt the enemy or distract them.
The interrogate and execution skills.
Yeah. I see a lot of potentials there. Yeah, that would be definitely funnier than the things I thought about myself. If we could be a mercenary team, we could have like perhaps some command skills or maybe artillery skills, or it could be like you could put us a little bit here and there, and it causes havoc or commotion wherever we.
Yes, seditioners, basically.
Yeah. Because I did it myself, when I did that Lorenzen, the loudmouth Lorenzen, I did it was mostly based on my own personality when I did that allied hero. So for me, I don't. That is of course only a fan thing, which I don't have any stats for and stuff like that. I just this miniature I've resculpted a little bit and stuff like that. Otherwise, of course, an SSU player, SSU figurine would be nice. Perhaps some sniper. I always loved sniping people. Also, some sort of combat weak, but perhaps HQ kind of. Strategic guy. I mean, like not a commander, not a general, but like something like an HQ kind of yeah. And it would be nice though if we were a mercenary team and we had like command skill or something like that. But perhaps when you use us, you have to re-roll or something, because Magnus and I always have so conflicting views that if we're doing...
that would be interesting. Have some,
internal
one really good skill and one super bad skill.
Yeah, like that. If you use us as an HQ and you have to reactivate something, or then you roll 2 German dice and 2 Russian dice, and if the Russian dice are overtopping, then you have to do the Ludwig action, or and then perhaps you have 2 mercenary or Cthulhu dice in there also, that depending on the outcome of who's on top, they give different type of actions or something like that. Okay, we want them to do something. Yeah, roll the dice. Okay, they're doing this. That's not what we wanted. But
yeah, exactly. There are 3 possible outcomes on a die, and we are 3 people, so perfect.
Definitely. That's even better. Like, perhaps you could have if you have us in the Russian army, you can re-roll the Russian dice or something. If you have us in the German army, you can re-roll the German dice. So it's I don't know. It's.
And if you speak about models, I still claim that you, Ludda, already have your at least head already figured out there. With Sean, it's just a simple head swap. I mean, with those sideburns on that hat.
Oh yeah, well, I don't mind that. I would easily go with that head. Yeah, well, and.
So what about you, Magnus? Any ideas?
Well, if I had to choose block, I would probably go with Axis, since that's where I started. So yeah, an Axis hero, and maybe a Walker pilot of some sort with some interesting new combination of skills. I'm thinking the first thing that kind of popped up in my head was Trailblazer.
Yeah, on a walker it could be really interesting.
Exactly. I'm not sure how good it will be, and I'm not sure what to combine it with, but some kind of cool new.
I mean, just imagine that on the Flamluther.
Yeah, for example.
That could be cool.
Yeah.
Maybe with some kind of dedicated walker. I don't know.
Yeah, and on a spin on that we've been into that also before, that we would love to have like perhaps 5 or 10 more heroes, pilot heroes for every faction, and they could just have one skill actually, so that you can like, okay, I'll bring one of those guys because I would like to see what happens if I have Trailblazer on this one, or if I have at the double on this one, or just so my tanks are a little bit different. So if I play 6 M4s, I have 3 pilots that make them a little bit more different, or nothing big, nothing game breaking, but
or I would imagine seeing as your line of work, Magnus, some sort of engineering skills maybe.
Yeah, could also be an idea. I'm not sure what that would be in the game, but yeah.
No, but that's why I see us as an HQ more and more, because you are like the engineer, the mechanic of the group, or with a twist. Perhaps you could do some more interesting stuff
like
with buildings.
Build fortifications.
Well, you are the measuring guy, so maybe you could like have similar to like Tito. You can increase the range of weapons for nearby walkers or something.
No, but you could be like someone who adds walls or terrain in the fly. So you're like, okay, you can activate another unit to skip their activations, and then they mold a bridge, or they mold a small fence, or they do something on the battlefield. And you are, of course, the one that do the lectures. So I would love for you to be like something. Perhaps you should have a megaphone like the Mythos guys. And if you can shout at people, then they learn a skill for that turn. So you can pick a random skill out and you just shout, okay, that unit has to learn this skill. And if you succeed, they know that skill and they run for it.
I was thinking that kind of combined that I'm not the guy with the megaphone and the mouth. So maybe if you are in the if the kind of team that we are in, if they are joined by an officer. Then if your miniature is still in it, then it counts like having a radio, because they shout the orders to you, and you can then relay it with your booming voice to everything else.
That's good. But then I would like to twist it, because I never think my hybris, or what do you call it? Hybris is like, I always think I'm the smartest guy in the room. Mostly I am, but no, seriously. So I would like to twist the command roles for some reason. Like, it shouldn't be, if I'm in a unit and the commander says something, I have such a big problem with authorities also that most likely I will go, off you, man. I'm doing what I want.
33% chance to give a different order.
Yes, precisely. They want to reactivate that one. I'm like, yeah, you want to do that, but don't you see how stupid that is? We're going to reactivate that one over there instead. So that's more me, I think. The always knowing better guy, Not always doing that, of course. Mostly
we should do this team just for ourselves to see what we can come up with.
And please, listeners, if you, by listening to us, even if it could be hurtful, see in your comments, actually, if you have some skills you think we should, for instance, have
or definitely not have maybe.
Yes. That would be interesting, just to see what people think we should have for skills. That would be, amazing.
Yeah. Our next 2 questions come from the Game Chefs Limited. First off, what are your thoughts on the new releases of the Dust Studio terrain pieces and the special trains such as the VK pallet and crates? Do you see this as an item that could be used by tournament players next year? I would hope not, at least not universally. I'm hoping that we see this occasionally, but not. It's a weird kind of. This is like the mercenaries. They have to be a little bit overpriced since everyone can take them. for what they do. That's where I hope it goes, so that it's just doesn't feel mandatory for everyone to run this.
Oh yeah, you're so true there. If everyone has them in Poland next year, I'm going to be so irritated. But I hope I see them in at least 10% of the armies in Poland, and I hope they're allowed, and in, of course, Nordic and every other big tournament, the German Masters and stuff like that, which we're going to. So I just hope I love the VK. What do you call it?
The pallets. The idea of it is really cool.
Because we had that from years by, that Olivier was thinking that we should do a separate deck with extra things that you could have. And,
like equipment and stuff. So this is kind of what that idea has turned into.
Yeah, and I sincerely hope that it will spawn more things, because I so loved that idea. I know it could have been a lot of work to get that deck of extra cards, but man, would I have loved to give special skills and special upgrades to my units. Perhaps that would have been too complicated for some, and you don't have to allow them in every tournament, but a special deck with amphibious walker, making them amphibious, and or dropping them for an odd one, perhaps. You can drop one walker all of a sudden.
Yeah, I think it would be nice to have more of this stuff as well. Both this kind of generic that anyone can use, and also specific for each block, or even faction specific. That could be fine, as long as they are, like you said, balanced. So they don't become mandatory for everyone to use them. And from what we've seen with this one, if I remember correctly, it wasn't too expensive, but then again, it's not like game-winning thing by itself, and it looks cool. So I think this one, could fill those last few points for you if you are playing an army that needs this. So.
And it has a slight drawback as well, and that is that the enemy can use it as well.
Yeah,
if they get in range.
Exactly. So
this can be the thing that you regret the most, that you brought to a tournament. Like, oh no, it went so well this game, but then he took and I was. So
it definitely brings a new dynamic to the game.
Definitely.
in a very good way, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't played with it or against it yet, but I think this is going to be a cool thing.
Yeah,
I like it.
Definitely.
Just something that spawns now in my brain for campaign things, and for an upcoming campaign from the studio, it would be nice if you could capture Walker Rex for the next game in a campaign. It couldn't work in a tournament or in any way like that, but I mean, if I were facing an opponent, and in the first game I destroyed a Ludwig, for instance, and that is a capturable vehicle.
Then you can use it for the next. Yeah, that's an interesting idea.
Perhaps I should just have written this in the mail to the studio, but this is one for free for everyone, and to spin off against. Wouldn't that be nice to be able to?
That reminds me of a similar idea I've had. That's more for a specific scenario that you can use. That for one specific battle, you can choose one hero from any block and use it in your army.
Oh yeah, that would be cool. Like he has or she has some interlocking ideas. We have to kill those guys right now. We have the same. Our enemy, my enemy, and your enemy is, well, my enemy of my enemy is my friend. Or
exactly,
whatever.
Something like that.
Yeah, but wasn't it like one of the scenarios in Hellgate?
Yeah, there are some stuff going on. I know the final scenario in Hellgate is just anything goes. You can just bring whatever you want.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what it says, but I think it was like one player is playing the mythos, and the other player can build an army. Using anything, any block, faction, whatever he wants.
Exactly.
Just put something together.
So if you want that big final cinematic thing, that's a perfect scenario for that. This is something that could potentially be used in an event with a lot of people playing, and that would really test your combo making skills, I think.
Definitely. It could.
You see the Bloody Baron in a helicopter.
Definitely.
Weird stuff like that.
Yeah, I would love that.
Second question from the Game Chefs is, can you have Magnus give us more details on his terrain projects, where to view them, buy them, etc.?
Yeah, sure. The stuff that is ready so far can be bought and viewed on the rsl-gaming.se webpage. And I also posted a little bit about it on Board Game Geek. If you find the Dust 1947 section there, you could probably find it somewhere. Maybe we can put a link or two up.
Absolutely, yes, to the Board Game Geek site and also directly to the RSL Gaming site, so you can view them and purchase them there if you want to. Definitely. And next question comes from Jared Saxman. What are each of the Vikings' top 4 overlooked gameplay heroes, any faction, in Dust 1947, and why? And on the flip side, what are the 4 heroes you wish you could rewrite? Gameplay, awesome or terrible, either or? Oh, this is a tough question to just to answer for us on the fly. I think we might get back to this at a later date, but just some short thoughts. I know for me, a hero that I wish I could rewrite, the perfect candidate for that pops into my head is Florentine for the Luftwaffe, because she is, to me, a very strange combination of stats and skills. I don't really see how to use her effectively. We're going to actually go back to talk a bit more about that in the next question, but that's the first off my head, at least.
Yeah, well, I actually see one of those that in my shell over there, Yukio. I don't see her enough, I think. Perhaps it's just because the Imperial Army hasn't been out that much and nobody wants to play her with the Germans, or perhaps no one had her before. But she's a cool sniper. Also, I think Priest is overlooked. Of course, historically, nowadays, one do want to overlook him. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
I play with Priest a lot, so I use him regularly. So for me, he's not overlooked at all.
Yeah, no, but I think it's only you and I who do that.
Yeah, there are some people, and overall, the spies of all the factions are underused.
Definitely.
I would say, and there are some really good ones. Even if you have to kind of get into the mindset of playing them, like for instance, Bullseye for the Desert Scorpions he is a sniper, but he's not really best used as a sniper because of the spy skill, because remember, he does have the demo charges.
Definitely.
So the best use for him is usually to pop up behind an enemy vehicle and blow that to bits, and then use the sniper as the secondary option, basically.
I agree with you there, but the last time I played him was actually in the sniper platoon with the lady sniper with the crossbow.
Maggie.
Maggie. So Maggie and 2 squads of snipers and Bullseye in the second squad, and we were assaulting a fortified SSU tank platoon who was inside in the middle of it.
Oh, jeez.
Well, Martin had to have some tanks inside a fortification with a bunker as well, because on the one side it was Bleutkreuz coming, because we were playing that 3, one in the middle and 2 on the other side, the special scenario we've been talking about, and I was assaulting with Desert Scorpions from one flank. And he managed to get a sniper squad up, or a rifle squad up on the second level of one of the buildings. So they had like height advantage for snipers and everything. And if Bullseye didn't have the super scope thing, I would never have gotten rid of his sniper rifles. So my army could have advanced, because we were sitting duck on that field when he was like boom, 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 and it's like
Yeah, but like you said, both snipers and specifically spies. They were, I don't know, at one point, at least I saw a lot of spies being played, and suddenly they kind of disappeared and nobody played them. I'm not sure what happened there, because I still use mainly Priest, I would say, is my go-to guy in that department. So.
Well, we had a lot of fandom on Chef, and Chef was a really good thing on taking out the commando wagons and stuff like that, because I think there's a little bit hand in hand here in the Swedish meta. made up because people were hiding commanders in the back of their field, and they were not, and they were hiding them so well that you couldn't reach them. So the only way was like you charged in with a plane or a chopper, and then you had a spy who went in and boop, boop, took them out. And when people started, when that revamp of the command wagon was done, people were playing less and less command wagons. So and then people were playing less and less heroes. And also, I think a lot of people had played the hero thing and was like, okay, I've done that. I want to do something new. At least that's what I get when I talk to people.
Yeah, maybe.
So that's why the revamp. Another one also, though, that I would like to see more is Oz, of course. I never see him almost.
You saw him in our last game. I also play Oz.
Yeah, I know, but it's not so easy for me to focus when I play. All your minis are standing in front of you. My focus is you.
Yeah, sure, you crushed me in that game, but
did I?
But Oz and
tell
his
me
unit, they were actually one. Remember one of the units that lasted very long time, and because of Oz.
Definitely, Magnus. And the more the honest thing is that you are special. So when I play you, I know I get a special treatment, and I see special units which other people don't play. So when you and I play, it's like, okay, this is out of the norm. This is not standard. This is just fun, and I enjoy it, but I don't recognize it as a fact, so to speak. I think that's why I know you play a lot.
It's an anomaly.
Yes, it's some sort of an anomaly, and it's more shits and giggles when we play than otherwise.
Well,
for some reason.
For me, heroes I wish I could rewrite. What I come to think of is the, that special, what's it called? The ranger, the named unit of ranger command squad.
Yeah.
Captain.
Captain Ledger?
Ledger, yeah, exactly, and his guys, because. I have that unit. Unfortunately, it's not released except for the that special release.
Yeah, so hopefully they have
Yeah.
said they are going to get the
So
Ranger some
not
love
many-
soon. So hopefully they're going to get re-released in plastic.
Yeah, so not
pretty soon.
many people have this unit anyway, so it's not a big deal. But I fairly regularly play with the mechanic guy Gilmore. Who is a cheap and he's a cheap mechanic basically, and that's fine. But the others, like all the others in that unit, as a command unit, they are just a little bit more expensive than the regular one. They have slightly better weaponry, but that's it. So I don't. I would like it to be more special, is what I'm saying. And if you play them as single heroes, basically. Most of them, to me at least, aren't really that interesting either, and aren't worth it points-wise.
But, okay, I have to disagree with you a little bit at least, but that's because I don't have them. I've been thinking a few times about adding them to my armies at different points, so much actually that I started to go through to my bits box and see, can I make these guys? Because you couldn't get them, and I could see them because they are Ranger 2, and that's so interesting. So I think if you got hold of that HQ, you could bolster a Ranger 2 army in a very interesting way just by giving extra wounds here and there also, so your squads actually make it through. So I would love to have that squad and just at least experiment with it. That's one of mine. I miss them very more than the monkey heroes because, of course, I don't play the monkeys yet. I only collect them on a pile or in a habitat or something.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So that's why it's
Rangers.
so warm in here.
Yes, that's not my fur you're feeling.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, and then I have tried it a little bit. I haven't really played all of those heroes, but they're just that tad too expensive, which you can't really afford when you are playing a Rangers army, because a few of those units are also a tad too expensive. So they're just that step behind. That's how I feel, at least. And I would say in particular Jack, who is actually the main character of the book, of the novel, feels, I don't know, he's got the lucky skill, which is once per game, and he's got the cheat death skill, which is once per game, and that's it.
Yeah, well, that's also why I love him, because he's not an overpowered hero. I love those that do the little things. Okay, yeah, the luck isn't that good, and the cheat death is no more that good.
Yeah, but it's 7 points.
Yeah, I know. But it's still 4 wounds as well. And if you could get them, you take 3, for his 4 wounds, manage to cheat death, you get, for instance, the double flamer units into position, thanks to him. And then they just sustain fire on and with the shotguns and everything, or other units you could position in a very good way. And then, well, I don't. I just. And also, I think you could do that nasty little thing if you like do the commander and Bazooka Joe, and you can put them in Command Walker and with other stuff, and you could start like or the truck and stuff like that. I think you have some dimensions there to make a little bit of an actually cheese Ranger 2 army if you experiment. But you know more because you have probably thought about it even more than I, because you have the units. I only been doodling with it in my head. So, but we were supposed to. The question was, what kind of heroes did we want to rewrite? Yeah, but we want to release those units.
Yeah,
get them out there.
So another candidate, I think that a hero that is underused, and I think because of the rules, like the Red Banner for the SSU. I don't think I've ever seen him on a table.
Well, I played him once, and I was crying before, and I was crying after. I was crying during. I
think I played against you once using Red Banner, and I think
my once.
I haven't seen him before or after that.
Wonderful statue. Put it on a pillar and paint him bronze, and it looks super. That's my take on him, which is such a shame because he's such a beautiful flag there.
Points is he?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's just I think it was from when we started. I think it was like 10 or something like that. It was just like, whew, for this, for that. What is he doing? No. And then you give the Spetsnaz the move on the double platoon possibility, and then
so he kind of gets very obsolete by then.
Yeah, I get some really sick thoughts right now, which I never played. Put him in a Rosa platoon, because then everyone has stealth,
double and camo.
Like everyone has camo, but he can reactivate them out of their camo, and that's just a move, so they keep the camo.
Yeah.
So he goes waving the flag, but no one sees him except the camouflage guy. That could be like a sick twist you can do. That could be actually fun. So they like, no, you can't see us, but you're doing
You're
extra.
waving the flag.
No.
You're not. Just a little bit.
Over here, we have to. Sorry, we have to freak out a little bit. But that's so true. Something better for him, because I think the thought is that he gives more movement because he waves the flag, but it just doesn't work. The game is too quick. The game is too. If it was a bigger game, it was like a free-form game with more points, and he was in there with the flag. I think that could have worked, but
what's his skill called? Follow me.
Mm-hmm.
It's I have very mixed feeling about that one because it's thematically it's a super cool skill, but it's also very restricted that you have to be close to the guy, very close. I think it's within 1 or 2 or something. 2. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you also need to roll die for every unit to benefit from it and stuff like that. So it's very limited. So I think it would be better to make it either, a bit longer range, so you could have more units benefit, or you make it like once per game and succeed automatically, or succeed at least in 2 out of 3 or something like that.
I feel like if you're into 5 from him, you get the brave, and then like once per game you get the move on, and then you move 2 squares with your units, because even if you play 3 mats, still, you only need to use it probably once, and then you get that little bonus, and then you're into the opponent.
And maybe make him himself a bit more resilient, like give him damage resilience or give him cheat death or something like that, because that's kind of the cinematic thing. You have that flag waver who just refused to die.
Yeah, as long as he is in proximity to a squad or in one of a squad, you move him and replace. When he takes his last wound, you place him in the other squad.
Yeah, and another guy takes it up.
And he removes so the flag. It's the flag more than the guy in himself. Mm-hmm. That could have been a sweet way of doing him, definitely.
Some interesting ideas there.
Yeah.
Our next question comes from Mike Pierce, and Mike asks us to show your best list led by Florentine, and please use the Rocket Troopers too. As we talked about previously, I feel that Florentine is a very weird unit, a very strange hero, because she's kind of a close range front line commander. We haven't really anything else in the game like her.
No.
And that's the issue. I think she's a fantastic model. I would really like to use both her and the rocket troops and make a really thematic awesome list. I have no idea really how to do it though.
I get it that you have the same thoughts on her and rocket troops as I have with the Desert Scorpions, even though Desert Scorpions way ahead of the rocket troops. I wish we could see more rocket troops, but I feel like they have been deemed as weak in tournament play, so that's why people don't play them, because I think a lot of people like them, how they aesthetics.
Yeah, but I think most people choose the Fallschirmjäger before rocket troop.
But why?
I don't know, but that's
because
what people do.
Because of the Alpha Strike possibility.
Yeah, personally, I kind of like the rocket troops. For me, it's just Florentine. I have a really difficult time to see those 10 points that she cost. What do you get for that? What do you use her? What does she do?
There are some problems with her, because you cannot use her like a standard officer that sits her way in the back and shout orders, because you have to pair her up with another squad or put her in a vehicle so she can use the radio, and that just feels really, really weird and strange. And so if you want to use her as an officer, she has to be in the front line. She has to be close to her troops. And of course, that's a possibility, but at the same time, she's Soldier 1, so she is quite fragile.
Oh, yeah.
And when she's joined to a unit, you probably don't want to use too many officer orders, because you want to do stuff with the unit. You want to fire your guns, basically, because they do have fairly good weaponry.
I would say if you want to rewrite her, the simplest way to do it was probably to give her infantry ace. That would make her a lot more interesting, because then you have some real options.
Yeah, she's a little bit like Action Jackson. Is also an officer and a frontliner, more or less. Rarely, at least I, use his command. You want to shoot with him or fight or something like that.
Yeah, but if you have that possibility to get 3 actions, then suddenly things shift. I remember this from back in the day when I used to use Panzermeister a lot. Not Panzermeister, that's the new one.
Of course not. Yeah,
but
no, you didn't use the
Panzer
Panzermeister. It was Panzer Prince.
Panzer Prince.
Of course.
Because that's the same kind of basic idea. You get the 3 actions, and he's an officer, so of course his main job in most games was to be the backliner with the big heavy laser cannon. But since you have 3 actions, then you move, you can shoot, and you can give an order. You have that flexibility.
But also that is very, very powerful. Apparently Florentine needs a boost up, because no one plays her, so she must be very weak. And I only remember running into her 2 or 3 times when I killed her like that almost, and then nobody played her again. And I realized I thought that it was like, okay, she must be very weak then because they can't get her to work.
And I think that's kind of the consensus of people. They tried her once or twice, didn't get it to work, and then stopped trying. There are possibly things you can do with her.
Yeah, well,
but
to try to answer Mike's question about the best list led by Frontine, I think you have to start with her platoon, because her platoon makes your ground units able to reload themselves, using the ammo drop skill. So you basically need a whole bunch of units with Panzerfausts and work around that, and just you use her because that's what the platoon says, and you can use her however you want. Personally, I don't think she's a good officer, so I would just use her to boost one unit. To kind of spear an assault, or to really put pressure. That unit that you want to survive just a little bit extra, put her in that. But that's 10 very expensive points for that. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I would love to see more players playing rocket troopers, because
they are cool, and like you said,
cool.
Johannes, Florentine is such a
Fallschirmjägers.
cool model. She just looks fantastic.
Yeah. I think it's probably an army that you have to play very, very specific and buzz like a swarm of bees and never stand still. And
you have to use the terrain to your advantage in a very specific way, because they have the flying skill, they have that long range with their movement, so you can play in a way that you can really take advantage of certain terrain pieces and just block the enemy from having line of sight to you until it's too late, basically.
Yeah,
for them.
if possible, of course, you should use height advantage, because they can get there easily. And I think it would be a good idea to also have some kind of smoke laying capacity. Just add one mortar or maybe even two, so you can put the cover where you need it.
Yeah. Oh, just on top of that note, I just have to mention one thing that was so fun, because we said that last time during the hobby time that we should play more of the scenarios from the Endless War campaign, or Island
Paradise Lost.
Paradise Lost, yeah. To me, they're the same. But at least, so we did actually do that, and we played one of those scenarios, me and Martin, one of the days, and we just realized that we had two mats, 125 points or something like that, and we should pick 4 terrain pieces each, and they were like 1 square terrain pieces, and we were playing with 8 squares of terrain, and that was
brutal.
We just stood. Where's the terrain? Are we going to play this? What are you going to do? Okay, so you have your tree over there, and I have my tree over here. It was like the crashed UFO in the middle, and we were like, okay, where am I going to get?
That's actually a point, because it seems at least that people over here in the US in general use a lot less terrain than we usually do. We usually have quite a lot of terrain pieces on the table when we play.
But that was very fun, that scenario, and that was very enjoyment, just playing a different type of game. I just had to get that out there. So, guys, try that out if you're like us and play with a lot of terrain.
Or in the other point, if you're used to using quite few terrain pieces, try the opposite and use a lot of it. It's definitely changes the dynamic of the game.
Definitely. And if it's too messy for you to use height advantage first 2 times, skip it, but use the height on the building so you can go up and down in the buildings and stuff like that, and then add them when you feel like you have a grip on the situation, so to speak.
Yeah. And finally, Patrick Doty asks us, what rules modifications or mechanics should be considered for playing massive scale games? We've heard you guys talk about the hundreds or even thousands of points that you have for your Dust armies, and that other company is now doing a big push on apocalyptic scale games. So, any ideas? Well, we have done a few massive battles before, and they are tricky. Dust in general is a game that scales quite well, both up and down.
Yeah, sure it does.
But of course, the more you scale up, the longer the games tend to go, and especially if you scale up the number of players. That definitely adds to the time taken. So do we have any ideas to speed things up or simplify
Yeah, add extra mats and do the lesser terrain, because it's still going to be fun. Even if you lose half your army the first turn, it's going to be fun to put all those units on the table and see them standing all over there. Perhaps have a pre-deployment as well, I would go for, which also that other company had beforehand, that you, with a screen or something, you place your units before you start the game, so every unit is on the board, so you can have that whoa, look at all our minis feeling, so you don't walk out, okay, it's destroyed and removed. I think, though, that you can do some downscaling as well, or something like you can move a platoon at a time. I saw other people writing on this on Facebook, that you could, like, oh yeah, you do platoons only by the regular units with not support units in them, and then you move a platoon at a time on each side. You should probably do something that when you kill a unit, you don't score wounds on them, or either you kill them or you don't, so you remove the whole unit at once. But yeah.
One thing that happened in the last massive battle that I took a part of, when we had a really big table and people were bunched up in the different... We started out in the different corners of this really big map. We did simultaneous activations on the opposite corners. Mm-hmm. Because those armies couldn't affect each other because of how the terrain looked. Mm-hmm. So that sped up the game quite a lot. Mm-hmm. So that's also something that you could do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's difficult because, I mean, the dust system as it is, I mean, it's made up of alternating activations, and it's very deadly. So I'm thinking if you would activate a whole, like, platoon formation...
3 or 4 units on a 400 points plus game.
I don't know.
Or at least have each player activate 2 units at a time instead of just 1.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking as well. But still, I think something else also needs to be done to I don't know, to speed it up. I'm not sure exactly how to do it, but maybe... At least for the first few turns, you just give 1 action to units. Mm-hmm. So they have to... I mean, okay, I can't see anything, so I can't shoot. So you just move.
We did something similar on the second day of Dust Nordic a few years ago, when we had a big battle at the end there, mm-hmm. where it was kind of a dawn battle. So it was dark the first turn, and no unit had line of sight further than like 4 or 5 squares. Mm-hmm. So that meant that the first like 2 or 3 rounds was just movement, and that sped things up. So you can use a combination of these different ideas, and that might work well.
Yeah, and I wouldn't put past it to do special tokens, perhaps, that you plan your whole army. Perhaps it would be nice you put them down and you flip them up and you go, okay, this one's going to move, this is going to fire or whatever. So, and perhaps I really like what you said there, Magnus, with 1 activation each. But I still think the key is to move a whole platoon at once, because it's going to be deadly. But the opponents will do it as well. Perhaps as well, then do also piggyback on the other company, add all the damage afterwards. So, okay, I activate all my platoon here, you activate all your platoon there, and you shoot and I shoot and everything. And, okay, we record data, and then, okay.
At the end of the turn,
now we remove minis, so poof. And then we plan again, and I move my platoon, you move your platoon. And I'm thinking that if the platoon breaks for some reason, the whole platoon breaks. I haven't thought this through yet, but I still feel that that's the way to go. Like, okay, I activated my whole platoon, and if I through the turn gets too much hammering on that platoon, they all fall back, or otherwise they are like one fighting unit or something.
It's difficult because it's the base rule set isn't really written for this type of combat, so I think you have to do some kind of drastic changes. The thing is that you need to do it, you need to do it the right way, so it speeds up. You can't just add a whole bunch of rules, because then it will probably slow it down. So
no, definitely.
Yeah, so I don't know. I want to think about this for a while. I want to try something out there. if I find the time, I will try to write down a few of my thoughts. Maybe we can combine it and try it.
Yeah, I'm always open for new playtesting, so I would love to play something like that.
Cool.
And just as a quick note, since Patrick mentioned here the many points that we counted, I actually counted my Axis army.
Interesting.
That I think it's my biggest army, though I do have a lot of allies now as well. I still don't think it's gone past my Axis army, and I counted and I passed 800 points, and I kind of I'm not sure how much more than 800 points I have. Maybe 850 or maybe even 900. I'm not sure. I kind of lost track of it by then. So, but something
cool
like that.
Indeed.
850 maybe.
Ah, good. And then probably have at least 750 allies, because it's a massive amount of minis on your.
Yeah, I will try
there.
to count them as well. I'm not sure, but I still think the Axis is slightly bigger.
Yeah.
So let's go over to some tournament talk. We got a very nice letter here from Joe McLaughlin, who talks about the Sacramento crew who's going to be hosting a huge Dust event in October. And the aircraft that we talk about, the aircraft carrier that we talked about before, are going to be part of this event. And this, yes, he sounds just a ton of information about this, and it sounds amazing. It's the weekend of October 12th in Sacramento. So he is explaining here, it's called the Battle of Kaiju Island, and will be hosted at the Great Escape Games in Sacramento. And he describes the scenarios here, and this I just had to go through this because this sounds fantastic. The first one is the Sino-Vietnamese hunting for cult summoning mythos on Kaiju Island, and they have to fight through mercs to secure landing zones for the helicopter-borne Spetsnaz. The Spetsnaz team have to stop the cultists. And again, that Patrick Doty has made a fantastic swamp table that's going to be used for this scenario on this event. The second battle is the initial USMC landing versus the Japanese Navy. This is going to be a sea-based landing. Might have seen some pictures there of the pictures from some tables that Joe himself has created for this mission. And he says that when everything is done, they will have 24 feet of shore for the USMC to assault. And they 3D printed a bunch of landing craft and jungle terrain that's going to be used for this. This sounds just better and better.
Landing.
Yeah. The third scenario is an IJN airstrike on the USS Z Akbar. This is an air battle using the aircraft carrier that Patrick Doty made. And they will have about a dozen Pelicans that will be defending the carrier, and about a dozen IJN aircraft that will be part of this.
Yeah,
and then the final battle will be the IJN counterattack on the USMC after their beach landing. And the interesting part here is that it's a condition here. If the Mythos actually won the first battle and had their summoning succeed, then the Mythos is going to back up the Japanese Navy. But if the carrier is not sunk by the USMC, then they get air support for this battle. So this is just crazy. And Joe also finishes that the great thing about this Dust Day is that the players is not required to bring any units themselves. All they have to bring, according to him, is a good attitude and some dice, because all the miniatures used will be provided by the Sacramento crew. Of course, if you want to bring your own IJN, USMC, SSU, or Mythos, then you are very welcome. And it says, sorry, there are no Axis in this mission because they were heavily featured at Dust World Expo 2017. This just sounds mind-blowingly awesome.
Yes. I just wish I could have had that opening to fly over with some dice in my pocket. It would have been so wonderful. But
yeah, really looking forward to the pictures and report about these battles. Sounds fantastic.
So if you have the opportunity to get to Sacramento, October 12th and 13th, we would very much like to see some battle reports, some pictures, some videos from this event. This is going to be nuts, I think.
Yeah, just go, man. Just go, whoever you are. If you are in reach of Sacramento, just get there. I mean, it must be just fun being there, standing in the background, watching.
You're just looking at the mayhem unfolding before your eyes.
Yeah, I mean, Yeah.
All right, that's a bit smaller scale. We had a smaller local tournament here very recently. That's right when I was away on vacation, so I had opportunity to attend, unfortunately. But you did?
Yeah, I was there, and Magnus was there, and I dusted off my frogs.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It was very, very nice to have them walking about again. And
the Steel Guard are always a fan favorite, I think. Yeah.
Unfortunately,
I'm not sure I can agree with that because I got seriously pounded by them.
Well, that's okay. I'm gonna skip that possibility there, and I'm just gonna say that. It was fun playing them, and it was a great tournament. But if I had known for scenarios and had read the scenarios beforehand, I would never have brought a frog army to that tournament, because I think it was like 3 scenarios and all 3 were anti-frog. It was like, you have to run very fast, and if you don't, when you run really fast, you have to run a little bit more, because otherwise you're hopelessly losing the game. But it was from those
me and Mats did the organizing of the event, and we decided to throw a little bit of a curveball and try some completely new scenarios for us. Basically because we agreed to play some of these new that we hadn't played before. So it was really cool. We soon realized that the first scenario we played needed some tweaks. So I like the idea of the scenario, but I think we're gonna play it again sometime, but with a few tweaks to make it work better, because some of the games ended super fast, which is not kind of fun for anyone.
No,
also objective based in some way.
Yeah, I'm not going to explain the entire scenario here, but you could, if you played a very fast army and of course had a little bit of luck with the dice, you could make it end super quick, which of course a couple of the tables ended very, very quickly. So, and that's not really fun, especially not for the losing player, and maybe not even for the winning player, because there was hardly any action on the table. It just went over very quickly. So.
Or if your opponent played a very slow army, you had a very high advantage, so to speak, or advantage there. But also I have to say this just to make amends for the frogs. If I would have read the scenarios, of course, and I would have tweaked my army a little bit with a PT-47 and a transport chopper, perhaps, that could have easily made a whole lot of difference. So it's just that. But we were playing in the dark. You didn't put out, it's going to be this specific scenario. So everyone knew it. I'm not griping about it. It's just that it was a little bit. It's of course always hard when you start reading a scenario. Okay, I'm going to play this, and you are playing Endak, and I'm not going to win this one. Okay, and you are playing Spetsnaz. I'm playing. And it's about running again. Yeah, I'm not going to win that one. But I had fun. I was killing a lot, and I think it was. Didn't I have the biggest kill points, or was it by? I was very close to biggest kill points. I'm not going to take the credit for it.
I already forgot. I'm sorry. I can't remember.
I know I was very, very high up on the kill point list, at least. If not best, then I was second best on killing. So I had a fun
I did
time.
what I could. I gave you as many points as I possibly could.
Yes, you did. And you were not alone in doing that. So I enjoyed myself. So I'm not griping that way, but.
But it was fun. Really nice to play completely different scenarios that we haven't seen before. It's always nice to try new things, even if they are not perfect. So
this was a summer holiday fun thing. So
small local tournament anyway. So if it was a bigger tournament, it would probably be a good idea to do some more serious playtesting before using scenarios that are new to you.
Right, and then we have another tournament locally coming up very soon now in August in Linköping, the Linköping Days of Dust number 9. And this is also something to look forward to, I think. The Linköping crew is very nice, arranging a lot of very interesting events. We don't really know that much about scenarios for this one either. We do know that they are going to use the weather rules.
Yeah. It looks like a really, really interesting tournament. I would love to go, but since everyone knows now I'm in Paris that day, so it didn't happen. So
Right, I'm not sure if I will be able to make it. I will still be on vacation by then, so I might have time, but I'm not sure.
I'm crossing my fingers here. It's very tight for me. I hope I can make it because I have a really itching to go and play some tournament games since I missed out on the European Championships, and on the Gothenburg Days of Dust now on vacation. So it's been a while for me to play a lot. And of course, in Nordic I was a ranger, so I couldn't really play there either. No. So everything conspires against me this year.
Oh yeah, but you had it coming. So no, but also, I since people heard me talk about it last time, not on the pod but on the tournament, I'm still working to get something going on the 10th of August, if everything just pans out. But I got the impression that was so few locally that could come the 10th, so it's probably just going to end up being like me or 1, 2, 3 guys in my apartment or something like that. But
hey, it's better than nothing.
Yeah, so. definitely, and then I don't have to move the terrain, so then I can really, because I really think I can get it going with 3 game boards again in my own little crib, and I have a little thought there on a storylined little event.
Very cool.
So
we'll see how that pans out.
Yeah.
We'll know next episode, I guess.
Definitely, then you will know, and hopefully in a week or so I will post something on the website if it's going to happen. Yeah. So.
And that said, we are very interested in hearing about you guys out there and what you are doing with your get-togethers. If you are having some fun events that we can plug, just get in touch with us. We're more than happy to spread the word.
Yeah, because it's something going in Finland.
The Robicon. Yeah. That's also coming up very soon.
So we want to hear about that. Unfortunately, I don't think anyone had possibility this year again to go.
From us here in Sweden, and that's also very, very soon. It's yes, I think it starts tomorroue, the convention, when we're recording this. Yeah. So it's a bit late for us to plug it here.
But hopefully they hear it, Lexa and the guys, and they do some stuff and send or post at least. They're going to post on Facebook, so, of course, but if they manage to do something and they can do some interesting stuff, it would be nice to hear from them. And
definitely.
Yeah, sure. Send stuff our way and we will mention it in the pod.
Definitely. And until next time, we will see you on the battlefield. Thank you for listening to Dust War Journals. You can find us at dustwarjournals.com or on social media at Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Dust War Journals. And you can find our Patreon page at patreon.com/dustwarjournals. All music used in this podcast is made by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com.